No one will trust you now that you've been proven to be problematic, be it aggression, talking to your not-so-imaginary friend, or expressing your selfish desire to die. The reasons all have the same result. You go through a safety check to make sure you're not carrying weapons or any sort of contraband. Nothing available to hurt yourself with. However, a friend of mine mentioned that hiding a razor blade in your cheek works. So, you're freaked out, and your mental fuck-upness got you landed in emergency detention for a few days. Got your blade? Made it through the safety check? Great, you want the blade for later. A lot about the place is very disorienting, and privacy is non-existent. Instead, you and everyone else are corralled in one single large area to make watching you all easier. You'll also notice that your self-image becomes distorted, literally. The mirrors here are simple plastic sheets, so that the people here like you can break them and use these shards as weapons. Where they were drilled into the walls, the material warps, leaving you feeling very odd about yourself whenever you stare into its depths. Of course you feel that way no matter what though. Everything resembling normalcy has been stripped away from you, and you awkwardly stand there in some paper clothing trying to take in this new alien environment. You begin to feel your admission was a mistake. You begin to regret coming at all, and you regret having your rights signed away to this place. You're frightened, and you should be. It's the unwritten goal of the mental hospital after all. Now, you get to size up to others. Any suspicious figures? They won't make it particularly evident that they're mentally ill, and they may even come off as nice. But, if you recall, a fair amount of them here have come in for aggression, and you can't tell that by looks alone. It's for the best if you keep your distance. You know all the talk of everyone being a unit? It's all bullcrap. There's an unwritten hierarchy that stays in place, no matter how often people come in and out. Let's face it, if you didn't beat up the crap out of anyone to deserve to be locked up, you're most likely near the bottom of the food chain. This means your overseers take advantage of your vulnerabilities more often than they thought for patience. I know you're tired and cranky from that drunken maniac screaming his head off for 12 hours straight back at the hospital, and that you didn't get any breakfast before they strapped you down in a stretcher and dragged you here. So eat up. You're handed some rather suspicious looking eggs, a pair of biscuits, and some pathetic looking bacon. It's difficult for them to poison the more solid foods to get you under, so avoid the scrambled eggs entirely. They are watery for a reason. The staff briefly allows you to put your sheets on your stiff clinical mattress, but you can't be trusted enough to catch up on your desperately needed sleep in your room. You can't be alone after all, you psycho. They will permit you to push two heavy-ass chairs together and sleep on that dough. You're curled up, feeling very exposed and very alone in such a communal room. Be a light sleeper, for your own sake. You're always being monitored by staff and nurses after all. You will have your vitals taken now and then. For the most part, this is fine. If you're not a morning person, or are excessively hungry before you get breakfast, this procedure won't be very pleasant. However, it's not the worst. At times they will request a blood sample from you. Your arm is hooked up to a scary looking needle, and you can't decide between averting your eyes so you can't watch your blood being stolen, or looking directly at the sharp point to make sure nothing goes awry. However, even this is not the worst. Another test done, the urine sample, isn't physically trying, but it tends to mortify the poor patient. Everything in this clinic environment is frigid, from the floors to the walls to that stupid little cup you have to pee in. Some of your nurses are rather abnormal, almost inhuman if you will. The others are the ones who feed you off apprehension and discomfort, and are most likely the ones to be subjecting you to these medical necessities. It's cold in there, so keep your jacket on at all times. They were too eager to mutilate it by removing the string to prevent strangulation, but failed to notice the jacket's inner pockets. This will be sufficient in having contraband on you at all times. What contraband, you may ask? The pencils the staff provides you, of course. The short stubby kind, of course, so that you can break and weaponize them. However, if need be, anything may become a weapon. And as an off-adjusted person yourself, you know that they come in handy in a sticky situation. Pocket as many as you can without it being caught, and keep alert. Note that while most, if not all, other participants will be wearing some sort of jacket, the staff will not. You can discern human staff from the others, as their scrubs don't sufficiently protect from the brutal air conditioning. They'll shiver a bit, but keep a watchful eye on them all, nonetheless. The others won't care. It's after lights out, and you went and took a piss in the toilet with a strange covering on it so you won't bash your head against it. Luckily your roommates didn't wake up, but you're having trouble falling back asleep. You notice, lying awake, that the staff routinely go around and shine a flashlight in each room. When they do so, you instinctively pretend to be asleep. At some point, however, the staff notice your conscience. One of the others cautiously enters your room. You tense up, and the motion doesn't go unnoticed. You panic. Don't. Just don't. Keep it together. Still got your blade? Great.